Hi, and thank you for joining me on another episode of A Voice for Treasures from the Past. If you haven't seen the previous videos regarding this lithograph and you're interested, I recommend going back to my videos on my channel and looking at the progress and the history of this analysis on this lithograph. It might be of interest to you. That said, I'm just going to go ahead and go over a real quick recap what up until now has been found. So, uh, handwriting is a strong to solid match for Odilon Redon. It has a French title. It is a chine applique or chine colle application process. It's authentic. It's been found, analyzed to be authentic and of period. Subject matter makes sense. Uh, it's signed Odilon Redon. There is a monogram with an R inside of an O in plate on this lithograph as well. So if this was any other artist, any other, research for any other artist, that would certainly be enough, more than enough. But because we're talking about uh, somebody as important as Odilon Redon, there will probably always be a little bit more, not always necessary, but there's definitely one big category that I have not attempted to address or evaluate. And, you know, uh, I've been spending so much time uh, analyzing and working on and doing the videos for all those previous steps I just talked about, which had all come back, yes, positive. Um, I really didn't or hadn't uh, spent a lot of time comparing the art itself, the style, the architecture, the characteristics. Now, I've been staring at Odilon's work now for, I don't know. I mean, it seems like a year on and off, and I mean, I keep it up at work as far as on my screensaver. Sorry, boss. But so I'm just constantly looking at it. But I've up until now, or just a few days ago, recently, I really wasn't looking. I mean, I was looking for the exact characters to stand out and jump out at me. Well, I think if that were the case, if that would have been the case, somebody would have mentioned it, or we would have known that, or it would have been identified decades ago. So um, the exact character or a you know to jump out and say, yeah, that's him. It just hadn't been there yet. So I had been just working on these other things. Now, uh, I suppose that was kind of the low hanging fruit because it's pretty easy science. Well, analyze, is it his writing, yes or no, within reason. I mean, it's either way no or absolutely. It's strong, and it is strong. The chine applique, it is either or not. And on and on. It's signed Odilon Redon, for goodness sake, right? Has a monogram in plate, and O and an R. Simple, low hanging fruit, and wow, yes, it's closer, it's closer, closer. I hadn't quite looked at the comparison piece. Well, just the other day, I mean, literally, I'm staring at these works, and I made a decision to just look at everything. I was really focused on the noirs and things of that nature in that line of what he did, and I decided, wait a minute, what am I doing? Because this really now I need to look at what his art, how his style may compare. And so, just yesterday, the other day, I'm staring or looking, and it blasted at me. Okay. Uh, I it just jumped right out at me, and it was absolutely clear. So what I want to show you today is pretty. striking. And I wanted to comment. I have this feeling that I would bet there are at least a few Odilon read-on scholars possibly watching this. And I won't go on what on earth is going on out here in Colorado. Well, and they likely or may know, be aware of what I am going to show you in this video. Uh, it's, and I never considered the style, architecture, technique of art to be so fingerprinty, like so consistent throughout works. And I guess that's why they say that's what you need to look at too. So, or primarily. So I guess in the big scheme of things, this has come out thankfully right. I've done all the steps up till now, and it's all been yes, or as yes as you can get. I've talked about that before. Okay. Well, it turns out that Odilon Redon used in most of his uh, more human um, uh, characters or figures, I guess I should say, a very almost exact technique, and that you can see in many of his that I've been able to look at now. I can probably find many more, but this has only been a couple days, so I put this together, and I think it's going to be plenty for now. Um, it's an exact technique that he uses in his human forms and as well as his monsters. So look, if you would, look carefully at, and what stood out to me, bolt just boom, came out of nowhere. Look at the mouth, and then primarily the mouth, then the nose, then on some look around the eye sockets. Now, remind you, the two faces that I'm using are from the lithograph, lithograph, um, that are the best clarity of the face. One of them, which is leaned back like this, so some of the aspect is a little bit off, but not enough to for for most people to be able to see what's going to be shown here. So I'm not going to say much. I'm going to go very slow, and I'm going to go through some slides. And I just want you to take a look. I would hope that you would take a look, and I think we'll find this interesting. All right. Okay. So this first one here is, and my titles are cut off a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and keep going. This is the Buddha. Okay, so this is an example of Buddha. Remember, watch the eyes and the mouth. The nose. The mouth is the giveaway for Redon, I found. He always has a frown, a very specific, and very consistent. I didn't have enough time to show as many as I want. Okay, going to the next. Now, Christ, 1887. Watch the mouth. I don't remember what this was from. The his charcoal or lithograph or both uh, for Christ, but it seems as if many of these that I'm finding are right in the same uh, groups of workings. I almost wonder if this was a intended for or just during that time, and it didn't make it into some of his multi-print packet. Here's Closed Eye, 1890. Watch the mouth. Even though one is more human-like, one is more, I'll call it monster-like, which that's an interpretation, that's subjective. But if you look between these two here, look at that mouth. It's the same mouth. I don't know if I don't know. Did he rework these? Did he just his technique? Look at that mouth. The nose as well. Look at the nostril, the eye sockets. Okay, that one is stunning. This one, this one is amazing in that if an expert eye, now I understand. I'm going to say I understand. An expert eye may have seen this right off the bat. Please look at the cheek, the chin, the lips, and the eye sockets. This will be amazing. Look at the lips, almost protruded out. It's almost the same drawing, almost as if he used the same face. But on this particular one, it almost approaches that face, so it's got the same cheek, a very similar cheek line, eye socket, and bridge of nose. And didn't spend a whole lot of time sizing these to fit, so keep in mind, I did this in just a few hours, really, of work, just throwing these in. But I think it's very telling here, which is an understatement, I think. You see how the lip is somewhat protruded on the figure, down the lower lip. And then if you watch, the lip seems to be almost protruding. Okay, we're almost there, folks. Now, Parsifal. This one I believe is hard to see, but I'm going to show it. It is very, well, it's his. Let's just say, pardon me. Watch that. Very hard to see that lip line. This one, really pay attention to the lips or the mouth. Okay, see that? Right there. It's the same mouth or the same hand, let's say. Okay, now, Untitled from L'Attention de Saint Antoine. Oh, if I murdered that. Okay, so this is the final one, and I think you folks all know what is coming next. Watch the mouth, the nose, and the eyes. This is stunning. Now, I have said this is the last video. This is the last video until. Well, this kind of this kind of information I just had to put on because this is really the probably the first question that would be asked by a, a scholar, and I think we know that. And it turned out to be the last thing I looked at because again, it's safer for me in a way, I guess if you want to call it that, for me to pursue the things that I could see clearly at first easiest to identify, but didn't realize how absolutely uh, easy, I guess in a way, clear the fingerprint of artists with their techniques. I am floored. I am excited. I am a bit nervous. It's a it's quite a find. Um, the regarding the further identification, what's left? Okay, I've talked about it before. There's some X-ray, non-destructive testing. I'm going to say these are high-level lab kind of things. So that's something that's really the top of the top. I was thinking of this saying or this, uh, you know, do you need to run yourself over with your car to realize that it's heavy? No. Do we really need much more? And I can't imagine anybody or organization arguing that this is not Odilon Redon's work now after all of these tests. I'm really excited to know that I was able to, get through these personally, you know, on my own, essentially. The next steps, the next two steps. So the final step, I suppose, could be the X-ray, the science, the very high level testing. Let's just put it that way. There's one other avenue that's going on right now is that I had talked about where I acquired this and somewhat when, decade, whatever, some years ago. And I went ahead and reached out to the auction, the not for profits auction house, and just in because it's an awful long time ago, and I just wanted to check to see if they retained donor records that long, you know, and to my surprise, they do. And because it was not a confidential donor type auction, it's possible that I might be able to find out even more about now reverse back more decades and maybe kind of figure out, how this thing, ended up in my hands here and how it traveled its journey through 100 and, some odd years. Um, so that is something that be maybe more to come, and as well as the final piece, the stuff that I cannot do, the things that the high level testing. Um, I know that if any scholars are watching this, that my argue, not even an argument, the evidence is beyond any reasonable doubt. That's it. There's just no other. There's no other explanation, and that is probably why I might assume, while I haven't had many folks uh, uh, downing it, downplaying it, saying, nah, nah, it really haven't. I think that because it's been right, when it's right. And it's very hard to argue it when everything comes up right. So I'm gonna leave ya folks now. and I'm not sure what you guys are seeing, but see here. Yeah, I suppose you're seeing that now. Very good. So, yeah, uh, very thankful. Have been very excited and very blessed to have had the opportunity to get this piece, and it it almost never was because I mentioned on one of my last videos. There's where it was amongst other things that was going to go either in the trash heap or whatever. Uh, because I didn't think it was of importance. I doubt I would have thrown it out because I'm an art fanatic, but it would have been like, So that's it. So it may now be a break for a while. I do have another video I want to do on a really awesome artist named Biz Littell, Dwayne Littell, in the cozy ware ceramic uh, world back in the late 60s, early 70s, very well known. Got some cool information on a really neat piece from way back. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much and talk to you soon.